Good Thursday morning, Carstensen Team Remax results, and it is the What's Happening in Minnesota Real Estate Show, episode number 22, our first episode of the month. We've been doing maybe a monthly episode, but our last one was early July, so it's been, 6-7 weeks since our last episode. So on our shows, we typically cover, obviously, what's happening in Minnesota real estate, answer your questions, and, talk about what's currently going on, changes that we see, or maybe strange things we're dealing with. Plus, today we're going to interview our newest licensee, Mikayla Torfin. That's Michelle's daughter, and she just got a real estate license. She's helping us with photos and videos and showings, and we thought we'd put her on the air, see what she's got.
Put her on the spot.
Video personality. Stacy's here. Before we bring Mikayla on, Stacy, you got a nice Remax shirt on. I like it.
Thank you. I got to represent.
Sounds good. We're going to add Mikayla. Hey, Mikayla.
Hey.
You're live on the air. We're thousands, hundreds, dozens. A couple people are watching. Probably,
we got a huge following. Huge following. Yes.
Oh, there's Michelle.
Hi, Michelle's here.
Where are you guys at?
My boyfriend's house. We had to switch vehicles because we've had vehicle situations, problems lately. So we switched up vehicles. So in the process.
Nice.
So I'm outside.
That's all right. Got to be outside before it starts to rain.
Right.
Nice.
So a couple of things. We always do our on-air production meetings. Typically, Michelle's starts her Facebook feed, and then it gives feedback in the background since Michelle's not right by us, so we don't have that problem this time. But Mikayla and Stacy, one of the things I'm going to test you on is, so we do have the dozens of people watching. You're going to need to go to our Facebook page and then share this video to your Facebook feed right now. So
I always forget this. I never know how to do it.
Oh, okay.
Yep. You basically go to our team page and then share it to your personal page. Yes, multitasking. So if anybody was watching live, you get to see them do that. Now, if you're watching the replay on YouTube, you get to see them do that. If you're just listening, we have a podcast, Mikayla, that you can tell people about. So if they missed the show, they can listen to the replay, at least on the podcast, if they don't want to watch the video on YouTube.
Okay.
We're sharing all this info that Mikayla might not know because she's new to the team. All right.
I don't know any of it.
All right, Mikayla. So we'll give you your time to shine, Mikayla. Obviously, let people know who you are. Talk to them about who you are.
Well, I'm Mikayla Torfin. I recently am out of college with my 2-year degree, my associate's degree. I went to Minnesota State University of Mankato. Loved it there. It was a great time. Got my real estate license, wanted to join this awesome team. So I did that, and I'm loving it so far. I've done photos for the team for a while now. I am definitely younger, but it's okay. a good young. I have lots of customer service experience. Probably 6 years, about 6 years. I love talking to people, working with people, helping people, anything and everything to do with that. So why not do real estate and find a new passion of mine? After COVID, everything kind of changed up with school, so I'm glad to be where I am right now. But yeah, I'm an oldest sibling. I have 3 younger siblings. Fun fact, some people don't know I have 2 half siblings. So
that's true.
And all 3 of them are redheads.
How are you not a redhead?
Yeah.
Why are you not a redhead?
That's a good question,
Are you adopted? Just kidding.
I'm blonde.
Yep. It skipped a gene.
You could move to a property with really bad well water and turn orange. Yeah, your hair could turn orange.
Right?
That'd be one way to.
I look like the odd one out compared to my siblings.
I don't know if it necessarily has to be really bad because, yeah.
What were you gonna say, Stacy? Is your hair
I was
turning
gonna
on?
say I don't think that like the well water has to be super bad because we're on well water and like I have like a red hue to my hair, which like I don't think our well water's bad, but maybe I should test it a little bit. Now that you mentioned that, like probably shouldn't be leaving my hair like red. But I mean, if you shower every day and you wash your hair in it, of course it's gonna do something eventually, right? Question mark.
Yes. Now everybody's questioning their filtration system in
Yeah,
their well water,
great.
probably.
Now I gotta, yep. Now I gotta spend thousands and thousands of dollars to get pure water to have pure hair.
All right, we changed the subject on Mikayla. So, did you ever do a showing
Mikayla.
today,
Well,
Mikayla?
I agree with Stacy though, because if I go up to Grandma and Grandpa's house, they have well water, and if I stay there for a while, if your hair feels different than it does after showering in the cities, that's for sure.
Yep.
But we're on the move now, guys.
You're on the move. Where are you guys going now?
Now we get to go home.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
So we will barely have Michelle on this video because I'm sure she's driving, right?
I will be in a second. I've got lots of walkthroughs and showings all day. I went from Jordan to Chaska to Savage to Champlin, back home, back to Santee to Little Falls, back home. That's my day.
And it's only 11 o'clock? Wow.
Well, no, that's what I'll be doing.
Oh.
Mikayla was in Melrose today. Did she tell you that?
I was in Melrose for a showing this morning already.
You guys are really quiet, so you got to be talking into the volume or turning the volume up.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us now?
Yes, a little bit better.
I
But it sounds like you're driving all over.
Yeah.
You were in Melrose. Michelle's, I heard something like Jordan, Isanti, Champlin. So, yeah. Prime example, Carstensen Team goes all over for the real estate dealings. Stacy was probably in Sandstone yesterday, right?
Yep, I was in Ascot, Sandstone, Mora, one other place. I don't remember. Today I'm going to Stacy, Oak Grove, and Ham Lake.
Stacy's going to Stacy.
I am. I'm going to Stacy.
All right, so now we got introductions out of the way. We can get to the content, which on one of our highly interactive production meetings that we had before the show started, which we have
really intense
production into it. We came up with the idea that Mikayla would come up with all the topics for the show today, and we put her under spot and see how she could do under pressure.
Perfect.
She's smiling like, wait a minute, what's kind of joking? So, totally kidding, Mikayla. Totally kidding, Mikayla.
Why, Chuck? You don't think I could take the challenge or what?
We should give you some kind of challenge. So,
That's what the challenge should be. You should just ask her real estate basics that realtors should know that most realtors don't know and see if she knows them.
Ooh.
All right. Noted.
Mikayla's like,
You're setting me on the spot, huh?
Again, you guys are very quiet.
Get closer.
I feel like I'm in the hot seat.
So a quick reminder, people, you can ask your real estate questions, and any questions we will actually have Mikayla answer first, put her on the hot seat, and then see if she gives you the right answer. And if not, then we'll cover for her.
That's funny.
So one thing I did, we always like to talk about, from the difference from the last show we did till now, if anything's a little bit different with the market, because that's part of what's happening with the Minnesota real estate market when we talk about that. So the main difference I would say is, or at least one of the bigger difference I'm seeing, up until our last episode, early July, we were rarely, if ever, seeing a contingent offer, like meaning I'm going to offer on your home and try to buy it contingent on selling a house. So the buyer wants to buy this house, has a home to sell. Sellers won't even have to worry about it. They get another non-contingent offer. Now we are starting to see recently a few more of the buyers like, hey, I got a home to sell. I'll buy your house. They make a good offer for the seller, so the seller's still getting a good price. But then that buyer has to sell a home, and I'm seeing a lot more of those. So obviously when we help a seller take those offers, we're double checking, and because we work in so many areas, we know these areas and know the market, that house is sellable, because it's totally fine to take a contingent on a home sale offer if you feel that other offer will sell quickly. But also, if it's going to be overpriced or not going to sell quickly, then it's not worth taking it. So, Stacy, obviously you've been helping mostly buyers. How many of your buyers right now have a home to sell and it's a tough fit, or how many of your buyers are still maybe first-time home buyers or don't have a home to sell? What are you seeing?
I guess I kind of have 50-50. I do have a number of people that I'm working with that do have homes to sell that need to write contingent offers. So it's almost ideal for them to be like, it's great that they waited for this time in the market to write that, because then it's not like going to put stress on them to have to pull money from 401ks, which I've seen a number of buyers doing like a couple months ago to get into homes. They're just pulling from their retirement to be able to get into a house to not have to sell. I do have a number of first-time home buyers I'm still working with. So they're renting and they're able to just kind of wait it out and just kind of see what is the best fit for them. But I guess it's good it's good, and it's a positive thing that people are accepting contingent offers now, because before they weren't, and these buyers are having a very hard time getting into a house without having to sell.
So Mikayla, that you're brand new in real estate, just starting, really just got your license, doing a few showings now. Before that, going with your mom, I believe mostly on showings. Is it all right to call your mom, or should we call her something else?
We should call her Michelle.
I call her mom.
Okay, sounds good.
I think I call her mom. Mom or Michelle. If I want to be very professional, Michelle. Be straightforward with her.
That sounds good. Whatever works. So what do you know in your infancy as being a realtor about the contingent offers that we're talking about now, home buyer contingent offers on a home they're selling?
As in, like, what is a contingent offer on selling?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And to talk a little louder or into the microphone or something.
A buyer is, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. What I know for a contingent offer on selling is the buyers themselves have a home, but they want another home, or interested in another home, or putting an offer on a home. So they would offer as of being contingent on selling their property. So if they are looking at a house, and usually closing's probably 30 days out, it might be longer for them because they are contingent on selling their house. So yeah.
All right. Sounds good. That means your mom taught you, Michelle taught you. Michelle's teaching you well, or you learned in the courses. So people who don't know, when you're trying to get your real estate license, you have to take a lot of real estate courses, which aren't bad, but some of it is kind of like stuff you don't need. It's just they want to weed you out and like kind of make your brain cry. And then they have some testing, and the testing's a little bit harder they make it tricky. So it's not super easy as far as passing tests to get your license. Obviously, you got several hours of education to get it, and then you got to get your license. You got to find a broker to work with, and in theory, you can work with any broker, but I'm sure you didn't get your license to go work somewhere else. So you're working to help Michelle and help us, and Mikayla's doing a great job because she's out there taking on showings. I mean, you did showings in Browerville yesterday, so you guys are right on it. All right, so sounds good. Stacy, maybe bring up another topic that you might think is different in the last 6-7 weeks since our show, or something that might be slightly different for buyers, sellers, the real estate market that people should know about.
Well, I guess like something that kind of surprised me today when I was trying to book a showing is the home that we are trying to get into is not allowing in-person showings all of a sudden. So yeah, that I said the same thing. I was like, this is really weird. Like they're only allowing like a video tour and whatnot. So I think things are changing a little bit. I'm not sure. I know the Delta variant of the coronavirus was kind of prevalent, so I'm wondering if these sellers are just maybe a little bit hesitant on that. So that just recently changed for me today. I mean, in the past, I mean, that we haven't seen any issues. Obviously, we're still respecting what people want as far as showings in their house and minimal touch and masks if necessary. But I mean, for the most part, everything's been smooth sailing for buyers in looking at places and whatnot. Thank you for taking them off. It was hard to hear.
Mikayla had some weird feedback on her phone,
Yeah.
so I don't know what's going on
The
there.
window's open. They're flapping
Windows
in the
open?
wind. Just kidding. They're in a convertible. I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
Yeah. So I mean, buyers are still like, strong and getting out there and looking at homes and getting the pre-approval, and interest rates are still great for buyers right now. So I mean, I don't know. I thought that was really weird to see that they weren't allowing in-person showings. So it caught me off guard.
Oh, sure. And I mean, obviously, I think it's all right if people are.
Oh, absolutely. Like that is 100% their decision.
Yep.
But yeah.
So I'll add you back on a little bit, Mikayla. So we'll see if you got feedback this time. You are on the road. I suppose that's part of it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I have full bars, so it just exited me out.
Yeah, I think, again, another on-air production meeting. I think in the future, if you're on the road, you probably want to have a headset plugged in, so you're getting some weird feedback. I don't know if it's like the bounciness of the car or your mom's shooting firecrackers next to you. I don't know what's going on. Or maybe, are you holding the phone? Oh, no, she doesn't hear us. She's just staring at us. So, Mikayla, you don't have to log back in. I'm going to take you from the feed, but you don't have to log out. Hang on a second. All right. That's how we roll here. That's,
it happens.
This is, so when I would do a lot of videos, and obviously we still do some live videos on our listings, and we could do videos anytime. I used to do a lot of informational videos. Part of the thing was, hey, just go do it. If it doesn't go well, it doesn't have to be perfect. So we kind of apply that to our live stream podcast. And that doesn't have to go perfect, whatever. And for the most part, we're obviously just trying to get some information out there. I'd say the one other thing I'm noticing the uptick in, and you're probably seeing this or knowing this as well, Stacy, is more of the offers that are getting through are able to do a home inspection. For so long, when there were so many multiple offers, there was always somebody so strong that also didn't have a home inspection. And so a few more home inspectors are probably being employed, because the sales, I don't think the sales are overall really down, although the market ebbs and flows. It's just that the competition could be a little bit less. Most of the time, the sellers still get what they thought. Every once in a while, we get a seller who maybe is now starting to get a little less than they hoped. And why that might be, I mean, obviously, if there's less people looking, less competition, it may go down. Now, there's some buyers like, hey, I hear that it's slowing down. Yes, slowing down for showings. Pricing, for the most part, like I said, hasn't come down, although there might be a couple opportunities here and there. But if I were a buyer, I wouldn't expect it to be like, oh, it's going to go back down. I just expect like, hey, now I might have a chance to get a home and might have a chance to do a home inspection on the home compared to a couple months ago. Would you agree with that, or any extra? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. Like, people are, and I always encourage people, like, you need to trust your gut and do a home inspection. It protects you and the buyer or in the seller in the future if anything were to happen. But I know now that people are a little bit more comfortable writing offers because they can ask for that home inspection and they're not getting beat out because they asked for that home inspection. So
yeah. Yep. And home inspection can go either way. There's sometimes, I mean, as a seller, like you said, or even as a buyer, it's like, yeah, they want one. But even as a seller, it's actually good if a buyer gets a home inspection, they know what they're getting into, and then you feel good about after closing that, hey, they know what they're getting into, you know. And sellers aren't out there trying to hide anything most of the time. I'm sure there's a couple people that are, but you live there, you don't know, maybe, hey, this isn't quite right. So
correct.
And then sometimes buyers do still get overwhelmed by, oh my God, there's this, and the home inspector brought this up. And not every time the home inspector brings something up, it's like bad. It's just they might just communicate it not as effectively as they should have. And then you got to just realize, okay, is this really bad, or is this something I should look into a little bit and clarify?
Mm-hmm.
We're trying Mikayla again. Hi, Mikayla.
This would be better. I think it might be my phone. I'm on mom's phone, Michelle's phone.
Okay.
Yeah. So
All
far
right.
it's better.
Well, that's
you hear
good.
me
It
okay?
does sound. It does sound better. So
I would agree. It does.
Your phone. Oh, you need a phone upgrade.
I need a new phone, Chuck. I do.
Oh, Chuck.
Yeah. You're old enough. You get paid now. You get your own phone.
Yep.
I meant as it towards you.
I
No,
know. We're just messing with you.
I gotta put the money into it.
Not Chuck go out and buy me a new phone.
Not Chuck doesn't need to buy me a phone.
Yeah.
Unless he wants. Just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna buy Mikayla, we can all go on like a big family plan together and maybe get a big discount.
Technically, we almost said, Stacey, you're the only one that's not family.
I know, seriously. We could pretend like I'm family. Hello.
I think they have
it's
friends
sad.
and family friends and family.
They do.
plans, so.
It was the Framley, wasn't it called that a while back? Framley or something like that. It was weird. Okay, anyways. Yes,
That's
I know. I'm the odd one out. When do I get? You got to start inviting me to family functions so then I feel like I'm part of the family.
You're like our what is it? Like our third cousin.
Yeah,
Like,
divorced,
cousin
next door
removed.
neighbors. Yeah, removed. Yeah.
Cousin removed. Yeah.
I'm sure Wade and Gail would welcome you at any time, as long as you like to drink. As long as you like to drink, you're fine.
All right. If not, I can pretend, right?
I'm
I'm just kidding. Oh,
That's
funny.
All right, Mikayla. So a couple things. Can you tell us a couple things you learned that were maybe surprising already so far? Either doing the photos and videos, 3D tours, or just doing the real estate showing so far. A couple surprising things you learned or observed.
Well, specifically for doing photos, it's surprising how much I actually see of a house. You don't really think about it until you actually do it. But when I'm in there seeing the different houses, I have a different perspective on, if you guys are talking about a certain listing, I'm like, I've been in that house. I know what the inside of that house looks like, and I can compare it to maybe what you guys are talking about or what's going on. So surprisingly,
They must have hit the Bermuda Triangle now. I
it's
don't.
almost like it is. Like, this is what I want my house to look like.
You guys, your
Did it
cell
cut out?
phones. Yeah, cut out.
It's okay. Like every once in a while, Chuck, you'll cut out on my end, so I just sit here and just wait. And I'm like, okay, when's he coming back?
I'm in the Remax results office with very strong internet. I should not be cutting out.
It could be my internet, but I'm pretty close to my.
Could be my computer.
router.
It's getting old too. I don't know.
Oh, so you need an
Chuck is
upgrade.
cutting out.
Yes, thank you.
I am
Chuck
cutting out.
might be.
Wonderful.
Not in a bit. Yeah, I think he might be.
Not regularly on this broadcast, but
All right.
it is
That
what
Just
it
sounds
is.
every
good.
once in a while,
But-
you'll like
Yep.
blurb.
Freeze, yeah.
I think, Mikayla, sometimes you probably end up knowing the houses better than me, depending on what I've looked at when I'm there, because sometimes you're looking at everything. You probably know how much people need to either clean better or, boy, they're good at cleaning.
That too, yes. No, it's just interesting to see the different themes in houses too, and the differences of this is the style that they like, or that's the style that they like. It's actually cool. I like it. So, yeah.
Great job. All right. Was there a second thing? Anything you learned then from showings, like actually doing the showings? Surprising things, not like learn. I mean, you're learning on every showing you go on, but like, this surprised me. I didn't even think of that.
Surprising sometimes of I would think how much, like, if you're looking at a disclosure, say if I don't get a chance to maybe peek at the disclosure beforehand, but I read the agent remarks and such, the differences of this is where the property line is, and surprising, like, wow, this is very specific. Like, you gotta know it. You either don't know it or you do know it. I would say that, or even like AC or the furnace or the water heater, like it really does make a difference of the age of it or the age of the roof, or when you're looking at a house compared to another house. So, and that could mean a lot of different things, just that. So, every little detail is important.
Yeah. Well, think about the homes that are all, let's say you got one, like actually the outside of the one you did photos and videos for last night, everything's, 4 or 5 years old outside, central air and furnace and hot water heater, 4 or 5 years or less. So the mechanicals, the siding, the roof, the patio. So that home there compared to a similar home in that age range, they might have 20-year-old stuff on all those things. And sometimes people look at it and maybe the other home could show a little bit better than this one we did last night, let's say it did. But those other things are all new. That's literally $30,000 of things that'll be coming due in a few years. And you can make your own house show better when you move in than the current house. And sometimes people will look at how well the home shows. That's great, but that's because those people are amazing at making it show well. You're the one that's going to live there, so you should actually look more detailed at the mechanicals, the roof, the siding, those major things that could be expensive in a few years. And some people bypass that for how well the staging is. That's why staging companies are out there. They make you get excited about something that might not be as great as somebody who didn't stage as well. So, so I think you're seeing that already, right, Mikayla?
Yes, I am, for sure. Yeah, because a house could be staged, but like you said, by a staging company, and you go in there and the appliances are outdated. A water heater in the 30 years old or 20 years old, and it's a whole different ballpark, because a lot of times, even with staging, it makes you look at, like, you're looking at the bigger picture. You're looking at, this is what the house could look like, but then you don't look at the little details and just recognizing those. But that's what your realtors are here for. So
correct. And that's why you get a home inspection to double check on those things too.
And one, maybe like, this is kind of a side note, and I was just thinking about this, but like a lot of people don't remember the age of their furnace or their AC or their hot water heater. So, I mean, something really good, I mean, just as a side note for homeowners, is write the date on the side of the mechanical. I mean, who cares? Just write it in a permanent marker, or put like duct tape with the date or something on it, so that, maybe it is there for 20 years, but at least it's there and you remember. Or God forbid something should happen to you and your family has to go and sell your house. They have no idea how old something like that is. But if the year's just written on there, it's there and it's there for everyone to see. So, I mean, we got our AC and furnace replaced last year. And I did that. I was like, I have to write the date on the side of this, because I won't remember in 20 years when we go to sell, I'm sure. So just kind of, word of advice for everyone.
Good tip. Good tip.
Thanks.
I agree, Stacey. I've shown multiple houses now, and one of the houses I showed yesterday was the first house that I'd seen it written on it. But I was like, I wonder, thinking like, what age is this? And I'm like, oh, there the date's on there. So.
And then you feel super smart, like, oh no, you guys, this is just a couple years old, and they don't see the sticker, and then you're like, yeah, totally. just like smoke detectors, people don't realize, like, your smoke detectors and your CO2 detectors, they do expire. So I mean, you should replace them every few years. I don't remember what the accurate number is, but I know you're supposed to replace your batteries in your smoke detectors, CO2 detectors every 6 months. So I say, like, do it as like daylight savings times. That's
good idea.
It's a good way to remember it.
There's Michelle.
That's my tip for the day.
I think I'm kind of like I know I'm very visual, because I can walk in the house and the date doesn't need to be on it. I'm like, that is 20 years old. That is 20 years old. That's 5 years. I don't know. Maybe I think, I know I'm visual. Everyone knows I'm visual. So.
So you move your hands like I do.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, when you've been looking at houses for as long, I mean, like, I'm about there with 4 years in, but I mean, I can look at like a water heater and be like, "Ooh, that's probably original to the house," and know the house was built in the 90s, and be like, "Yeah, you know." But I mean, some of those products, like they work, and sellers aren't going to replace them if they're still working. So I mean, until they're broken, they don't fix it.
They do not. We learned that a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Michelle, any changes since the last show that you want to make people aware of? We talked about more contingent on selling a home buyers. We talked about more buyers able to do a home inspection. Anything that you thought of that we didn't bring up that you're seeing or feeling like even coming down the road soon?
I would say that, you know, not even only just being able to do a home inspection, like a lot of buyers are doing a home inspection, because I feel like those are the buyers that couldn't get the properties before because they wouldn't buy it without doing one. So I feel like that's there. And then I feel two different things. There's overpriced homes and there's way underpriced homes. There's never like, not never, rarely is it priced where it should be right now. It's like somehow the agents get the people to price at 30,000 low, which they were doing all along, but not a lot of them was like, okay, this is where it should be, but we're gonna have to bid higher. And then that's the ones that are like 20, 30,000 too high, and they're never gonna get that. So it's sitting on the market for 2 to 3 weeks because they thought they could get what everyone else bid up to. And now it's kind of settled a little bit. What you guys probably talked about though is even on our properties, we're getting like, I don't know, let's say 2 to 4 offers, and multiple offers I'm involved in are like 2 to 4, 3, not really more than 4. And I have gotten more houses on the first offer because we're the only offer. And I think it's wavy. So if you were helping a buyer right now, it's very wavy. It's like 1 week it's crazy nuts, the next week it's not, next week it's crazy nuts. And it's like, okay, state fair is happening. So I'm telling my buyers, like, we might be able to get a house now because people are like in school and state fair. And then over Labor Day, maybe we can get a house. After that, I feel like it's going to be that wave of like, oh my gosh, 12 people are offering now again. So I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I think Michelle's right. There are the sellers that saw their neighbor sell for like 300. But they listed at, I'm just throwing a number, 275 and got bid up to 300. And now the neighbor's like, I can get 325 because it gets bid up 25. No. 300 was the max. 325 is now too high, buddy. You gotta reel it in a little bit. So
I see that on townhomes a lot now. The townhomes try to price them over what the last one appraised for. And it's like, no. They got lucky to get that appraisal, or it was cash or something. I mean, I think the really nice log cabin lake homes, I have like a buyer that has log cabin lake homes, like that's all they want. Those are multiple offers first day still with like cash. I remember I made an offer like a month or so ago. We did cash at like $530. It was listed at $455, I think. It is sold for $575 cash.
Wow.
And it wasn't listed too high. It was probably a 500 house, and they have 575. And that
was
like
lake?
Aiken. That was up in like Aiken.
On Mille Lacs or no?
No. Like some small like.
Yeah.
It's just because the people in there like they want like the log cabin look, I think, on the lake for some reason.
The dream home. It's on the vision board.
Yeah. So I feel like that's another thing. But yeah, really, it's like a lot of the buyers I have now are still the ones I've had for a while because they want an inspection. Maybe they're FHA or VA, although we've gotten more VAs through than FHA. Like, so, you know, the appraisals have been good. I got a couple of those appraisals waived this month already that they didn't even have to do the appraisal if you had 20% down. So, and mine have all appraised, knock on wood. So, yeah. It's all good.
That's good.
And if you're buying land, if there's not a survey, you should probably get a survey because you don't know what land you're buying. You don't know what the crazy neighbors are like. So just found that out.
Where did that come from? Did you have a bad deal?
A deal that I just did. Yeah. So thankfully they had a survey because, I
have a land buyer, and they went and looked at the land, and which was approved. It was okay for them to just go look at it. And the neighbors like came and were like screaming at them. Like they stepped over the line on accident onto their property, and like they were belligerent at them, like just pretty nasty towards them. They're like, so I met them yesterday. I met them. They're like, can you just come meet us? We know we can go by ourselves, but we're nervous now. And I said, absolutely. Like, that's totally fine. I go, that's really unfair. I go, that neighbor's that way.
Yeah, you won't want to buy that property.
Nope. That's kind of what they said. They're like, it's kind of an ideal property, but we don't want to have to deal with the neighbors. And it's been on the market a little bit longer. So that's probably what's happened a few times, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, I had a land listing that took a while to sell, partially because the neighbors, at least the sellers thought, wanted to buy it. So then he talked down the land, and then so he could buy it for less or something. But we had neighbors. That's why people move to land far away, not to have neighbors, and then you still have neighbors.
Yep.
The neighbors like, what are you going to use this land for? I got to get a hold of the surveyor. He did it wrong. I'm like, I'm pretty sure the surveyor didn't do it wrong. You were just using the land that wasn't yours for a very long time. So
you got lucky, buddy. Now your luck's run out.
I mean, technically, it is possible. You could have two different surveyors come up with something a little different, I think, but it's, I don't know what to say there. I haven't run into that. I don't know what to say there. So you'd think it was gospel, a survey.
You would think so, but I mean, I'm sure it's pretty close. It's just depends who's doing it. I know Mikayla keeps getting all these property line questions. Every showing she goes to is like, "Where's the property line?" I'm like,
you got to get the Onyx Hunt.
Just put that app on, even for in town. Then you just show them and say it's pretty much accurate. But and then they're like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." Then they don't even care.
I've been running around without that app for 8 years.
It's only like $130 a year or something. It's not very expensive.
If you can do there's like the baseline one is free for a little while. So Eric has the app. So if I need to look at property lines, I just go on his phone, and then I'll like take pictures and stuff like that. So I mean, there's no point in us both paying for it, but you can get like the trial, and it's like the baseline. So
just to try it out,
yeah. It's a great app. I mean, then you can kind of see if like everything's right. It says property owners and who your neighbors and stuff. I don't know.
The other thing, this is on air teaching. You could also on your iPad just have the MLS and show the map on there. Although the Onyx is good because it shows you basically where you're standing on the lot.
Yes,
so if you're walking towards the lot line, the neighbor's like, "You're on my line." I could say, "No, Onyx says I'm not."
Yep. Yeah, that is true. Really, that's a really good point, Chuck.
Let's wrestle.
Yeah, right. Make sure you stay on your lot, though.
Well, Mikayla was at a showing yesterday where the guns were just like out in the house, just like not even in cases, just out.
Just chilling.
I was like, that's in Browerville, right?
Open barrel.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in the Remax office. Is it cold out? The heater kicked in.
It's cool, and it's supposed to be raining. It hasn't started raining here yet.
I thought it was nice. I could actually sit on my back deck this morning and work and not melt. Like I melt easy, so.
Yeah. Oh, it's been super hot. Like, it says 61 in Zimmerman.
That's not very warm.
It's cold. It's cold front, guys. Don't worry. It's going to get hot and muggy again this weekend.
All right. So real quick wrap up, or a couple minutes each wrap up. Table topics wrap up here, Toastmaster style. So we probably won't have another live show for, let's say, a month, but we'll do one in September. What would you predict that could be slightly different in a month? Maybe that nobody would think of, or even something that's just going to be slightly different that maybe a lot of people are thinking of, but for a piece of advice for buyers or sellers, you can pick one or both. Who's got something? Wants to jump in? Michelle, go.
I think the interest rate's going to be lower than it's ever been. I think you're going to see like 2.5 on 30-year loans, which you can kind of see now, and maybe it's trickled into that tiny bit, but I think it's actually going to be closer to lower than that.
Wow, that is an interesting prediction because a lot of people
Yeah.
think rates might go up. However, we did refinance a 15-year this week on our house that we bought last year because we did a 30-year loan. 1.99% we got on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I know we keep getting things in the mail from our mortgage company or random mortgage companies, refinance for under 2%.
15-year loans, but
Yeah.
I think the 30s are going to go down. So make sure you're with the right lender, guys.
Yeah. I'll have to watch those because we refinanced 2 years ago, but
I'm lender charge.
good prediction, Michelle. I predict that a lot more buyers will kind of come out of the woodworks and that we're kind of hesitant over the summer are going to be like, okay, now I'm ready. Let's get into something before like necessarily snow falls, even though we still saw houses when the snow's falling. But I think a lot of them that were hesitant this summer and got discouraged will come back out of the woodworks and say, okay, now we're ready to go because I see more people are being able to get into houses without writing 12 offers.
Sounds good. Mikayla, you get to make a prediction.
I feel like I agree with Stacy that there will be more buyers that are coming out and interested, but I feel like the buyers may be more hesitant than they have been for the last several months, just as being, I don't want to say picky, but like more hesitant into what they're going into again. Like, because I feel like the last few months have been multiple offers. Like, we want this house. We don't care. It doesn't have to have an inspection. We want to live here. Like, this is our home. But they might start being more hesitant into what they want or in the situation.
Could be. Yeah, and one of the reasons they might be hesitant, which would be my prediction, but it's going to be prediction away from the hesitancy, especially if Michelle's prediction comes through, is a lot of people are hearing, oh, there's all these forbearances and foreclosures coming down the pipeline, and different states have different time frames for foreclosures. Minnesota is very long time frame. So if people were in foreclosure, A, they'd have to have not much equity, which most people do. B, they're 12 months once the moratorium on foreclosures ended. So I'm going to predict for Minnesota, you're rarely still going to see bank-owned homes. There are some that come out. There's various ways that they can go through and could have in the last year, but you're not going to see foreclosures. You're going to see the tiny bit of uptick on listings, so meaning a little bit more supply based on a few people who had some situations and now they can't pay the bills, but they know, hey, I could sell and get 20,000 out of this, and I'm moving to Florida or Texas or Tennessee or wherever people move when they don't like Minnesota. But that's just going to be a slight uptick in listings, which will make it a tiny bit easier to buy. And yeah, I think everybody's predictions are actually accurate. There are going to be people that are hesitant because they're just like, well, maybe this will go way lower again, but that's part of our job to be accurate. If it was going to go way lower, we want to tell you, but I don't think there'll be foreclosures to do anything, and there'll just be a slight uptick in supply, but only enough to make it so buyers can get out there and make something happen. Cool. Well, if you think of any questions off the air, you normally know how to find us. We're all on Facebook. Obviously, if you know us from before, you got our number. If you don't have a number, ask for our number. What's your number, Mikayla? No, that'd be weird. She'd be like, oh, no, I'm getting creepers already. All right. Sounds good. That is episode number 2 of What's Happening in Minnesota Real Estate Show. We had Michelle a little bit, Mikayla a lot. We got to know Mikayla. We had Stacy and myself, Chuck Carstensen. We are going to sign off for today and hope to help you or talk to you in the near future again. Take care, everybody.
See ya.
See ya.